it's a time to reflect and remember. With the pandemic, we can't celebrate those lives that have been lost the way that we normally do. But with me today are two folks that work for the town of Barnstable that have had a wonderful project that takes us virtually out to our monuments and our memorials and allows us to actually celebrate those lives, remember their sacrifices, and do it socially distanced. With me today, David Anthony and Elizabeth Harthgrove. Hi, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
David, please tell folks what you do at the town of Barnstable and how you got involved in this project.
Sure. I've been working for the town for 22 years now. I currently am the property manager. And what that means is that most of the town property, when there are questions as to how it was acquired, if there were limitations as to what it can be used for, sometimes we have to go back in and do deed researching on things like that. I think there's a need for the town to understand where it acquired these properties and what it can do with them. And many of the questions that have come up, especially this time of year, are about the memorials and the monuments that are located around town, or questions about why a particular street or why a particular beach or why a particular spot is named after a particular individual. So many times those questions will come through me, and we're able to get staff to contribute and research as to what the answers to those questions are.
What a fascinating part of your job. Liz Hartsgrove, we discovered some information about Ralph Bismore, who Bismore Park is named for, right down in Ocean Street at the harbor. Tell us a little bit about how this project morphed from just finding out about Mr. Bismore to this amazing application that people can participate in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it did. With the Welcome Center located at Bismore Park in Hyannis Harbor, our gateway greeters get a lot of questions about, things that people can do, things that people can learn about our community. And one of them was to get people acclimated to who Ralph Bismore is and why the park was named after Ralph. And that's how, as you said, we got started a couple of years ago in researching more. And so I connected with David, who has a wealth of knowledge, and he and I worked together on research with the Gateway Greeters and trying to find out more about not just Ralph's sacrifices that he made during his time, but in World War II, but who he was as a community member. Where did he live? When did he graduate? If he graduated even from Barnstable High, how was he a citizen of our community? And we found out quite a bit. But then, as any research project goes, it blossoms into something more. And we found out that we have over 60 of these memorials and places that are named or located around our community about equally, wonderful people in our community that sacrificed and gave their entire life for our freedom and for us to be here. So, and that's how the project really started. So then what happened was that we found out there was already a start to researching about the individuals who are listed or named on the stone. So we took that and ran with it.
So some of this research, where did that research start, David? Can you speak to that?
Certainly. Under Town Manager John Klim, one of his missions was to try to connect more with the community and get more information out to the general public. And he had a special projects manager named Len Gopiel, who has a connection with the town. He's a former town councilor. He worked for a number of years at the high school as a teacher. He has raised his family, and he took on this task of cataloging and beginning to research the names. And he went so far as to go to the Armed Forces archives and try to get information about time served, what they did, where they died. Many times he was able to connect and find information using the internet. But just in the 11 years that have gone by, there has been the ability to connect and use technology differently. So he had a lot of paper files, and he did a lot of work. Ironically, he was also, as soon as people found out that he was doing this, people came out of the woodwork, and people would literally come in with boxes of letters, would come in with artifacts and mementos and copies of annual reports and things like that, saying, well, I heard you're doing this, and my great uncle or my next door neighbor did something like that. So we literally have artifacts from some of these folks. We actually have Orrin Key's Purple Heart. That's a town artifact. We have all sorts of interesting primary source letters for some of these folks. Ironically, we also still have some that are mysteries, that we don't know anything more than where the rock is located and what the name is. And that's kind of an ongoing job. But it really was Len Gobeil who started the process, and we've been very fortunate that Liz and her folks have been able to kind of take this and bring it to the point where modern technology now makes it easily accessible to others.
So tell us, kind of walk us through how you got a box of artifacts and paper to where we are today with an online application.
Yeah, it is a community effort, that's for sure, and a interdepartmental cooperation team effort. So we had a couple. This project is going on, as David had spoke about. It's been going on since Len, but with my involvement, it's been going on for a couple of years, and multiple Gateway Greeter interns, when they stay on with me over the winter and work on these types of special projects. So we had one intern last year who was very familiar with documenting and creating online types of tours and virtual tours, and then being able to apply it where somebody is out and about in the community, and they can bring up the app on their phone and identify where a location is around close to them, and then they can click on it and it'll bring up all the information when they're on site. So even if we had some type of marker on a site, they can scan the code, it'll bring up all the information. So that really interested me, and it really was a wonderful partnership with this type of project. It really complements it well. So that is where we were able to then utilize all of the files and all of that research that Len had, which David was a steward of. We were able to grab all of that and then insert it into this application. And that took a lot of time, because all of the work that Len did, we had to be able to identify the references and note it and cite it properly, and then be able to also add pictures and links, and then Google Maps, so people can then really have an interactive experience online as well as on site if they decide to go on an actual tour by foot.
Just an amazing project. I have actually gone out and grabbed some footage, which you're seeing here throughout the video. One of the things that I noticed, David, is that almost all of these monuments and memorials are really well cared for. I know that some have been replaced over the years because of either an accident has moved the marker or something has deteriorated. How do other departments interface with this particular project?
So I think when you go back into the 40s, when the bulk of these monuments were set up after the close of World War II, it was actually 1946 at town meeting when they allowed what was set up then as a separate entity. The Parks Commission was granted the opportunity to use many of these traffic islands or these little squares, these little intersections, these little scraps of land. And that land was actually under their care, custody, and control, and they received a budget line, and they would go out and maintain them. So the tradition really starts way back then. Over the years, that Park Commission was absorbed into the Recreation Department that we have today, and there still is a Rec Commission, which is a vestige of that Parks and Rec Commission that was separate. Obviously, they're an advisory body now, and they don't have the wherewithal, and they don't have the resources to be able to take care of those monuments. So it falls back to the DPW, to the Structures and Grounds Division. And they take that job very seriously. It's very important to them that they maintain these, especially the monuments, partly because the community also will call us out if we don't. But at the same time, I think that they take it as a personal mission to make sure that things get done. The path of the Memorial Day Parade through Centerville, from the library to the cemetery, is carefully maintained this time of year to make sure that everything is in order. So the mowers are out, and tree trimming and things like that to make sure that that path is very well maintained. And a lot of credit goes back to them for their ability to do things. There have been a couple of instances where traffic intersections have been redesigned. For example, Park Square, which is out by the hospital in Hyannis, was completely redone. 22 years ago, there was a weird shaped kind of roundabout rotary that was there that went around this central park. And because of the amount of traffic that moved through that area, including ambulances, they redesigned the intersection. Well, they were very careful to put the stones that had been in the middle of the section off to the side to preserve those. So we have a number of intersections that have been changed, but DPW has always been very good about trying to maintain the importance and the reverence of those monuments.
It's so interesting to me. One of the, I have to shout out the one at 149 and 28 here in Marston's Mills. Our one monument that we have here in the village has had an accident, and it was really, really well done. It looks beautiful now. It was amazing to be able to go to this app, Liz, and find out who Sherman Crocker was. And he was quite a cool guy. He was this fighter pilot. How do people get involved with this application, for one? And two, what are some of the next steps that you'll be looking at?
Sure, that's a great question. So we looked at it. Well, one of the wonderful things that we're doing right now is making sure that these stories are accessible by different ages. So the app and all of the individuals are listed on our veterans page, as well as in the parking the parking program has a projects page, and in that projects page also is listed this particular veteran memorial stone project that we've been working on. So they can find the list of current people that we have researched, as and David did say, and he is very correct on this, there are ones that we have not found any information on. So we are going to list those because, as David also mentioned, is that people have that tidbit of information that will lead us to more and more, and opening up that discovery of this person's life. So we have all of that listed online, but we also are creating what we're calling a Discover Barnstable Kids Journal. And included in that journal will be some of these highlights of the veterans, that one from every village, and just trying to spark their imaginations about who they were, and their contributions to our community and to our country. So, so that is going to be released this weekend. The Kids Journal, that will be virtual, online, available, and then starting in the summer, we'll have an actual physical journal that the children can pick up at Bismore Welcome Center starting this summer. But we are then developing a more formalized the scanning at the site, so people can then be able to go to the sites and scan the code. So we're going to be working on getting plaques and things like that. But that is, as we go on, there's going to be more and more as this project develops, which is really fascinating.
How will the general public be able to pass on information if they might have a relative or a friend? Is there a way that they can do that?
Absolutely. They can contact me, and I'm going to volunteer David too for that, because we have that passion for history and our community's legacy. So it really is something that's dear to both of our hearts. And that's why we work so well on this project together and making sure it comes to everybody's availability. So they can contact us. Our information will be listed online and on the website. And if they have more information that we did not list on any of the ones that are available, I really highly encourage you guys to send your information and your photographs of family or friend photographs, maybe even high school yearbooks that we didn't be able to get pictures of, or even writings and letters and things like that. It's really personal stories that make it all more special to us.
So I'm going to end this today with asking each of you, throughout this project, you're learning about a lot of the people that have gone before us here in the town of Barnstable. David, who's the favorite out there? Was there one person that stuck out in your mind when you started to learn about where they were, what they did, what their how they died? Is there a particular individual in our history that strikes you, that hit a chord with you?
Well, I think from a memorial standpoint, we know the most about Orrin Keyes, simply because we literally have letters, the actual letters that he wrote home every couple of days to a relative that was here in the town of Barnstable. So we know what it was like when he was going through boot camp. We know what it was like when he was going through training. We know where he was stationed, what happened. And I believe the last letter that we got was 2 days before he was killed. So we have this wealth of information that not only tells us what he did, but he was very honest in the times that he messed up, and some of the decisions that he made and what he thought of, and you get a sense of who the individual is. We have a lot of firsthand information about him, and I think that's probably the person that I feel most connected to as far as the memorials go, just because we know so much about it, and it's a chance to peek back into history.
I'm going to ask you the same question, Liz. I know that you've been really involved in this project and probably have multiple people and individuals that you've connected with in history, but is there one that stands out for you?
Absolutely. My first, it's Ralph Ismore. He is, yeah, you can't forget him. It's just, he started the whole project really for us. And not really, but just making it and developing it and making it accessible to our community. And also allowing us to have the honor to teach people about our community. It's not just our residents, but the visitors that come here. And they come to Bismore Park, they want to know about our community and our history and why it's named after an individual. And we're blessed to be able to pass on that information. But this research project allowed us to go even further and find out who he was. And he actually was an artist. He was part of the Cape Cod Photographic Society back in the 30s and 40s. He was an artist. There's articles in the newspapers that he accidentally fell off the Bass River Bridge trying to take a photograph, and he won awards for his photography. And it's just so fitting that a park that has artist shanties, that we give that same opportunity to artists today, that he has that special place in his heart back then. And his family is able to come to the site. We've had those interviews from his siblings as well as his nieces and nephews. And I think that's what Barnstable is about, is making sure we're all one family, and that, we're remembering the contributions that everybody made to our community.
I think a lot of credit needs to go to the town council and the town manager for recognizing that this is an important part of the quality of life that we have here in town. It could be very easy to push this back on historical societies or individuals in the community and expect that they would kind of carry the torch. But I believe it is the town government's responsibility to make sure that this story remains fresh and current, that the past is connected to the future. And the town manager and this town council have certainly made this an element that needs to be promoted. And we wouldn't be able to do this if they didn't see the importance of it.
Exactly.
Excellent. And Liz?
Well said, David. I can't do any better than that. So,
Excellent. Well, Memorial Day, even though we are apart, we're together. We're 7 villages, 1 heart.
I'm very excited to be part of this project. It's been going on for years, and I got to do the virtual part of it, I guess, and put it on a website and an application that you could easily install on your phone.
So let's back up a little bit and talk about the project itself. How did you know to use a specific application? How did you get all of that content that Mr. Len Gobeil actually put in paper format over the years to get to where you are today, where residents and visitors alike can actually use an application to find out more about Barnstable's war veterans?
Well, my boss, Liz Hartsgrove, told me about the Clio website, and then I did a little digging, and it's very user-friendly. And all of Len's binders, I went through every single page, which is like so much information and so many stories. I even got teary-eyed on some of them. And it was an amazing project, and I just went through and put it into smaller paragraphs and uploaded it on the Clio website.
So let's talk a little bit about the website. This particular application, people can use from their phones or from their desktops. Walk us through kind of what the experience is for a user.
Okay, so if you're on your phone and you have the application and you're, let's say you're near Route 132 in Barnstable, and then you open it up, it automatically tells you all the historic spots around you, and then you will see Memorial Stone. Most of them is named their name and Memorial Stone. So if you're on the application or the website and you just put Memorial Stone, it will come up all the list of the stones, and you could click on it and see the pictures that we have or I found, and you could like just learn a little bit about their lives and what they did. And for most of them, I put their insignia on there and what I could find.
Right. So talk a little bit about that research. Having a memorial stone right down the street from us on Route 149 and Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Sherman Crocker, when I got to the application, I was like, this guy was amazing. He was like one of those bomber fighter pilots that was like totally cool.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about trying to track down some of the citations and that information.
I used a lot of the Sturgis website because they have a whole archive of information and old newspaper articles, and that was super helpful. That's mostly it, and Google, of course.
Right.
But Sturgis was my key to go. Yeah.
If residents don't know, the Sturgis Library is the holder of archives, really literally since the Cape started back in the 1600s.
It's amazing. So much stuff. I read articles from the 1800s, and I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I am like a history buff. So, yeah.
What were some of the things that surprised you as you were going through and learning about some of these veterans?
Oh man. So with Len, he got to go to their Barnstable High School yearbook and copy some pages. So I got to see their high school photos that hopefully in the future I could upload them into Clio, because right now I'm kind of limited. So just to see that how they were in high school and saw their little quotes and pictures and what they were part of, and then get to go into their other life and how they just were so heroic and went through all these amazing parts. Yeah.
Yeah, the experiences that they've had have just been, again, learning about this myself, the different stones out there, those monuments. You know, you drive by them every day and you're like, oh, I wonder who that was. And
Exactly. And especially the one near Town Hall, right on the Village Green. There's one, Houston. I forgot his first name.
Kevin,
But,
yeah.
yeah, Kevin. He was the most recent one, and so that really hit home. And I was like, wow. I was like, this guy is amazing. And I also found some videos of him through his family members on YouTube that is also on the Clio. It's linked up, so you could watch his YouTube videos.
Right. So some of the features on the Clio website, do they include a map?
They do. They do
Okay.
include a map, and you could see if you shift around, there's like a little like live camera. And if you shift around, you get to see exactly where the stone is located. If you're not there in person, or if you're at home, you just get to see around.
Right. So the project is, for better or worse, kind of wrapped up now. Are there some additional things that you'll be doing for this project?
When I get, well, hopefully when I get back to the new normal and I get to scan the yearbook pictures of these gentlemen and one woman. So I want to put that into the Clio just to add it, because I feel like there's more discoveries out there.
Right. So you've learned about Kevin Houston, he was a beloved figure here in the town of Barnstable. Was there another veteran out there that struck a chord with you?
Oh yeah, Coggeshall. I'm not sure how you say the last name.
Yeah.
He is right across from the Barnstable High School. His stone. He was in World War II, and just the way he was captured by the Nazis and brought to a wooded area, and the way it was wow, it was very touching. Like you read about it, you hear, like, but then when it's like right here in your own backyard, it's just so wow. There's no words.
Right. We hope a lot of our residents really take the time to, use this new tool to learn more about the veterans that have served so heroically throughout our town.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any question that I didn't ask you today?
That I could think of right now. Let me see. Not that I can think of.
So this is live now. This application is live now.
Yeah.
How do people reach this application? How do they get to it?
So you can go to, let me just get the correct wording. www.theclio.com. Or you could go onto your, hold on, I've lost you. Oh, there you go. Or you could go on your phone. If you have an iPhone, you go to your app store and put the Clio, CLIO, and it will pop up. Or if you have an Android, you go to your Android app store.
Okay, so you can either put the app on your phones or you can use your desktop for it as well.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, it was so nice to meet you, and we thank you, all of us here in the town of Barnstable, for taking this interest and taking the project to the next level.